Today, I want to talk about something that affects us all, whether we realize it or not: toxicity. But when we hear the word toxic, we often think of chemicals, pollution, or harmful substances. However, toxicity isn't just something found in the environment, it exists in people, behaviors, and even our own thoughts. Toxic people are those individuals who consistently bring negativity, stress, and emotional harm into the lives of others. They can appear in different relationships: friends, family members, colleagues, or even romantic partners. Recognizing toxic individuals is essential because their influence can be draining, manipulative, and destructive. They often disguise their toxicity under the pretense of care, love, or concern, making it challenging to identify them right away. However, their consistent patterns of behavior eventually reveal their true nature. One of the most common traits of toxic people is manipulation. They are skilled at twisting words and situations to serve their own interests. A toxic person might make you feel guilty for standing up for yourself, subtly shifting the blame onto you instead of taking responsibility for their actions. They often use gaslighting, a psychological tactic that makes you question your own reality and emotions. For example, if you confront them about something hurtful they did, they may respond with, "You're overreacting," or "that never happened," causing you to doubt your own perception. This constant emotional manipulation can leave you feeling confused, exhausted, and insecure. Another trait commonly found in toxic people is excessive negativity. While everyone experiences bad days, toxic individuals thrive on complaints, pessimism, and criticism. They often focus on problems rather than solutions and bring down the mood of those around them. Spending too much time with such people can make even the most optimistic person feel drained and discouraged. Their negativity is contagious, slowly shifting your mindset toward doubt and fear. If you find yourself constantly feeling emotionally exhausted after interacting with someone, it might be a sign that they are projecting their toxicity onto you. Jealousy and possessiveness are also strong indicators of toxicity. Toxic people have a tendency to feel threatened by others' success and happiness. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they may belittle them, make passive-aggressive remarks, or try to make you feel guilty for your accomplishments. A jealous friend, for instance, may say, "Oh, you got a promotion, must be nice to have everything handed to you." These comments are designed to diminish your joy and make you second guess your worth. Possessiveness, on the other hand, is common in toxic relationships where one person tries to control who you interact with or how you spend your time, often using guilt as a tool to manipulate you. Toxic people also exhibit a lack of empathy. They struggle to acknowledge or validate the feelings of others, often making everything about themselves. If you share a personal struggle, they might redirect the conversation back to their own experiences, dismissing your emotions in the process. Their inability to provide genuine emotional support can make relationships with them feel one-sided and unfulfilling. Over time, constantly dealing with someone who lacks empathy can make you feel unheard, unappreciated, and emotionally drained. Drama and conflict seem to follow toxic individuals wherever they go. They create unnecessary tension by stirring up arguments, spreading gossip, or playing the victim in every situation. They often exaggerate situations to gain sympathy or attention, making small issues seem like major betrayals. If you notice that someone is always involved in drama, either as the instigator or the victim, it may be a sign that they thrive on toxicity and dysfunction. Dealing with toxic people requires strong boundaries. The best approach is to recognize their patterns, limit interactions, and avoid getting drawn into their negativity. Sometimes cutting ties is necessary, especially if the relationship is causing emotional harm. Surrounding yourself with positive, supportive individuals can help counteract the effects of toxic people and create a healthier, more uplifting environment. Recognizing toxicity and making a conscious effort to distance yourself from it is a crucial step toward emotional well-being and self-preservation. Toxic environments can exist in many areas of life, including workplaces, homes, schools, and social circles. These environments are filled with negativity, stress, and unhealthy dynamics that affect mental and emotional well-being. Unlike toxic individuals who can often be avoided or distanced, toxic environments can be more difficult to escape, especially when they involve work, family, or long-term commitments. Recognizing a toxic environment and understanding its impact is crucial for personal well-being and growth. A toxic workplace is one of the most common forms of a harmful environment. In such a setting, employees may experience constant stress, excessive pressure, and a lack of appreciation. Toxic workplaces often have poor leadership, where managers or supervisors use fear, manipulation, or favoritism to control employees. Unreasonable expectations, excessive workloads, and little to no recognition for hard work create an unhealthy atmosphere where people feel undervalued and expendable. Additionally, office gossip, competition, and internal politics can foster distrust among colleagues, making it difficult to work as a team. Over time, being in such an environment can lead to burnout, anxiety, and even physical health issues. Homes can also be toxic environments, especially when family dynamics are filled with constant criticism, emotional neglect, or unrealistic expectations. In a toxic household, communication is often negative, with members engaging in frequent arguments, blame shifting, or dismissive behavior. Parents or guardians may impose impossible standards on children, making them feel as though they are never good enough. Siblings may engage in unhealthy rivalry, creating an atmosphere of competition rather than support. A toxic home environment can leave lasting emotional scars, affecting self-esteem, confidence, and the ability to form healthy relationships later in life. Social circles can also contribute to toxicity. Friend groups that thrive on gossip, jealousy, and manipulation create emotional distress rather than support. In such environments, people may feel pressured to conform to certain behaviors, even if they are unhealthy or harmful. Friends who constantly belittle, exclude, or manipulate others contribute to a toxic atmosphere that damages self-worth. Instead of feeling safe and valued, individuals in these circles often feel anxious about their place in the group, fearing judgment or rejection. True friendships should bring positivity and encouragement, not constant drama and insecurity. Another toxic environment can be found in schools and educational institutions. Students may face bullying, peer pressure, or academic stress in an environment that does not provide adequate emotional support. Teachers and administrators who fail to address these issues or who contribute to the pressure by prioritizing grades over well-being add to the toxicity. When students feel unsafe, unheard, or overwhelmed, their mental health and academic performance suffer. A healthy learning environment should promote growth, encouragement, and emotional well-being, not just academic success. Social media has also become a toxic environment for many people. While it can be a great tool for connection and self-expression, it is often filled with unrealistic expectations, cyberbullying, and negative comparisons. People constantly see curated versions of others' lives, leading to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Online toxicity can come in the form of negative comments, judgmental discussions, or the pressure to fit into certain trends and beauty standards. Spending too much time in this digital space without setting boundaries can take a serious toll on mental health. The effects of toxic environments are far-reaching, often leading to anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and even physical health issues. Prolonged exposure to such negativity can make individuals feel trapped, hopeless, and emotionally drained. It is important to recognize when an environment is unhealthy and take steps to protect mental well-being. While leaving a toxic environment is not always easy or immediate, setting boundaries, seeking support, and prioritizing personal health can help minimize its impact. Choosing to surround oneself with positive influences and seeking healthier spaces can lead to a more fulfilling and emotionally balanced life. A toxic mindset is one of the most harmful yet often overlooked forms of toxicity. Unlike toxic people or environments, which exist externally, a toxic mindset comes from within and affects how a person sees themselves, others, and the world. It is a cycle of negative thinking, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs that can hold someone back from reaching their full potential. A toxic mindset does not develop overnight. It is often shaped by past experiences, social influences, and deep-seated fears. However, if left unchecked, it can become a person's greatest obstacle in life. One of the most common toxic thought patterns is self-doubt. Many people struggle with the belief that they are not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to succeed. This mindset often stems from past failures, harsh criticism, or comparisons to others. When a person constantly questions their abilities, they may hesitate to take opportunities, try new things, or push themselves beyond their comfort zone. Over time, self-doubt erodes confidence and prevents personal growth. It convinces people to settle for less than they deserve simply because they do not believe they can achieve more. Another major sign of a toxic mindset is excessive negativity. People with this mindset tend to focus only on problems rather than solutions. They assume the worst in every situation and believe that things will never improve. This kind of negative thinking can be self-fulfilling. When someone expects failure, they are less likely to put in the effort needed to succeed. Additionally, negativity affects how people interact with others. Someone who constantly complains, criticizes, or blames others creates an atmosphere of pessimism that pushes people away. This leads to a cycle of isolation and further negativity. The habit of comparing oneself to others is another toxic thought pattern that can be damaging. With social media and societal pressures, it is easy to feel like everyone else is more successful, attractive, or happier. However, comparison often creates unrealistic expectations and unnecessary dissatisfaction. People begin to judge their worth based on others' achievements rather than their own progress. This mindset can lead to jealousy, insecurity, and the feeling of never being enough. Instead of celebrating personal accomplishments, individuals with a toxic mindset feel like they are always falling behind. Fear of failure is another major aspect of a toxic mindset. Many people avoid taking risks or stepping outside their comfort zones because they are afraid of making mistakes. However, failure is a natural part of growth and learning. A toxic mindset sees failure as a reflection of personal weakness rather than an opportunity for improvement. As a result, people remain stuck in the same place, afraid to chase their dreams or explore new possibilities. This fear can prevent individuals from reaching their true potential and experiencing success. Holding on to resentment and past pain also contributes to a toxic mindset. Many people struggle to let go of past mistakes, betrayals, or disappointments. While it is natural to feel hurt, constantly reliving these negative experiences keeps a person trapped in a cycle of anger and sadness. Instead of moving forward, they dwell on what went wrong, allowing past wounds to define their present and future. Forgiveness, both for oneself and for others, is essential to breaking free from this cycle. Letting go does not mean forgetting, but rather choosing peace over pain. Overcoming a toxic mindset requires conscious effort and self-awareness. The first step is recognizing negative thought patterns and challenging them. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, individuals should shift their mindset towards solutions and possibilities. Practicing self-compassion is also important. People must learn to be kind to themselves, celebrate progress, and accept that mistakes are part of growth. Surrounding oneself with positive influences, setting goals, and adopting an attitude of gratitude can help break free from toxic thinking. By changing the way they think, individuals can transform their lives, opening the door to happiness, confidence, and success. Recognizing toxicity is the first and most important step in protecting oneself from its harmful effects. Toxicity can manifest in many forms, including toxic people, environments, and mindsets, and it often goes unnoticed until it has already taken a toll on emotional, mental, or even physical well-being. Many people remain in toxic situations simply because they do not recognize the warning signs or have normalized unhealthy behaviors over time. However, awareness is key. Once someone learns to identify toxic patterns, they can take action to minimize their impact and create a healthier, more positive life. One of the biggest challenges in recognizing toxicity is that it is not always obvious. Some forms of toxicity, such as verbal abuse or manipulation, can be subtle and disguised as concern, love, or friendship. For example, a toxic person might say things like, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm only saying this because I care," when in reality their words are meant to belittle or control someone. This type of behavior can slowly chip away at self-confidence and make a person question their own feelings and perceptions. Recognizing these patterns requires paying close attention to how someone's words and actions make you feel. If you constantly feel drained, anxious, or unworthy after interacting with someone, they may be toxic. Toxic environments can also be difficult to identify, especially if someone has spent a long time in one. A workplace, home, or social setting filled with negativity, excessive criticism, or unrealistic expectations can feel normal if a person has never experienced anything different. However, certain red flags indicate an unhealthy environment. In a toxic workplace, for instance, employees may feel constantly stressed, unappreciated, or fearful of making mistakes. A toxic family environment may involve constant arguments, lack of emotional support, or conditional love. Friend groups that thrive on gossip, jealousy, or exclusion create an unhealthy social atmosphere. Recognizing these signs is crucial to understanding when an environment is negatively affecting well-being. Another form of toxicity that often goes unnoticed is self-inflicted negativity. Many people fail to realize that their own thoughts and behaviors may be holding them back. Negative self-talk, perfectionism, and excessive self-criticism are forms of internal toxicity that damage self-esteem and mental health. For example, a person who constantly tells themselves, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed," is reinforcing a toxic mindset that limits personal growth. Recognizing this pattern involves being mindful of inner dialogue and questioning whether these thoughts are based on facts or irrational fears. Recognizing toxicity also requires paying attention to emotional and physical responses. The body and mind often send signals when something is unhealthy, even if the conscious mind has not yet acknowledged it. Constant stress, anxiety, fatigue, or a feeling of dread when facing certain people or situations can be indicators of toxicity. If someone frequently experiences headaches, difficulty sleeping, or emotional exhaustion after dealing with a person or environment, it may be a sign that something is negatively affecting their well-being. Trusting these signals and taking them seriously is essential to identifying and addressing toxicity. One of the most powerful tools in recognizing toxicity is self-reflection. Taking time to analyze relationships, environments, and thought patterns helps to determine what is adding value to life and what is causing harm. Keeping a journal, talking to a trusted friend, or seeking professional guidance can provide clarity. Sometimes an outside perspective is needed to see things more clearly. Asking questions like, "Do I feel valued in this relationship? Does this environment bring out the best in me? And am I being kind to myself?" can help uncover hidden toxicity. Recognizing toxicity is the first step toward change. Once identified, a person can take action, whether that means setting boundaries, distancing themselves from harmful people, or changing their own mindset. Awareness leads to empowerment, and with that empowerment comes the ability to build a healthier, more fulfilling life. By learning to recognize toxicity in all its forms, individuals can take control of their happiness and well-being, making choices that support their mental and emotional health. Setting boundaries is a crucial step in protecting oneself from toxicity. Boundaries define the limits of what a person is willing to tolerate in relationships, environments, and interactions. Without clear boundaries, toxic people and situations can easily take advantage of someone's kindness, patience, or emotional energy. Many individuals struggle with setting boundaries because they fear conflict, rejection, or disappointing others. However, learning to say no and establishing limits is essential for maintaining emotional balance, self-respect, and overall well-being. One of the first steps in setting boundaries is recognizing personal needs and limits. Everyone has different emotional capacities, comfort levels, and tolerance for stress. Some people may be comfortable with frequent social interactions, while others need more personal space. Some may handle criticism well, while others are deeply affected by it. Understanding one's own emotional and mental boundaries helps in communicating them clearly to others. For example, if someone feels drained after long conversations about negative topics, they can set a boundary by politely changing the subject or limiting time spent on such discussions. Clear communication is key to setting effective boundaries. Many times, people assume that others will naturally understand their limits, but this is not always the case. Toxic individuals, in particular, may intentionally test boundaries to see how much they can get away with. Being direct and assertive about personal limits helps prevent misunderstandings and ensures that others respect them. Statements like, "I am not comfortable discussing this topic," "I need some personal space," or "I cannot take on extra responsibilities right now," are simple yet effective ways to establish boundaries. Using "I" statements helps express needs without sounding accusatory or aggressive. A major challenge in setting boundaries is dealing with guilt. Many people feel guilty for saying no, especially when it comes to family, close friends, or work obligations. They may worry about hurting someone's feelings or being seen as selfish. However, setting boundaries is not about being unkind. It is about self-preservation. Constantly putting others' needs ahead of one's own can lead to emotional exhaustion, resentment, and burnout. It is important to remember that taking care of oneself is not selfish, but necessary. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not one-sided sacrifices. Another important aspect of boundary setting is consistency. Once a boundary is established, it must be upheld consistently to be effective. If a person repeatedly allows others to cross their boundaries, it sends the message that their limits are not serious. Toxic people, in particular, will test boundaries to see if they can push past them. It is crucial to remain firm and reinforce boundaries whenever they are challenged. For example, if someone repeatedly makes hurtful comments despite being asked to stop, limiting interaction with that person or walking away from the conversation reinforces the boundary. Boundaries are also necessary in digital spaces. With the rise of social media and online communication, toxic behavior can extend beyond face-to-face interactions. People often feel pressured to respond to messages immediately, engage in arguments online, or constantly check their social media feeds. Setting boundaries in these areas, such as turning off notifications, limiting screen time, or muting toxic individuals, helps maintain mental well-being. Digital boundaries are just as important as physical and emotional ones in today's connected world. One of the most empowering aspects of setting boundaries is the freedom it brings. When people establish and maintain healthy limits, they gain control over their time, energy, and emotions. They no longer feel obligated to tolerate negativity, manipulation, or unhealthy relationships. Instead, they create space for positive, respectful connections and personal growth. Over time, setting boundaries leads to stronger self-esteem, better mental health, and a greater sense of inner peace. By learning to say no and prioritizing self-care, individuals can protect themselves from toxicity and live a more balanced and fulfilling life. Healing from toxicity is a journey that requires time, effort, and self-compassion. Whether the toxicity comes from people, environments, or one's own mindset, breaking free from its grip is essential for emotional well-being. The first step in healing is acknowledging the impact of toxicity. Many people downplay their experiences, convincing themselves that things were not that bad or that they should simply move on. However, suppressing emotions does not lead to healing. It is important to recognize the pain, frustration, or exhaustion caused by toxic influences and allow oneself to process those feelings. One of the most effective ways to heal is by surrounding oneself with positive influences. Toxicity often distorts a person's self-perception, making them feel unworthy, incapable, or stuck. Spending time with supportive and uplifting individuals can help rebuild confidence and self-worth. Genuine friends, mentors, or support groups provide encouragement, validation, and a sense of belonging. Seeking professional help, such as therapy or counseling, can also be beneficial, especially when dealing with deep-seated emotional wounds caused by toxic relationships or environments. Practicing self-care is another crucial part of the healing process. Toxicity drains emotional energy, leaving individuals feeling mentally and physically exhausted. Engaging in activities that promote relaxation and joy, such as exercise, meditation, hobbies, or time in nature, helps restore balance. Setting boundaries is also a form of self-care. After escaping a toxic situation, it is essential to maintain strong boundaries to prevent similar patterns from repeating. Learning to say no, prioritizing personal needs, and distancing oneself from negativity are key steps in long-term healing. Changing negative thought patterns is also important in overcoming toxicity. Many people internalize the harmful words or behaviors they have experienced, leading to self-doubt and fear. Challenging these thoughts and replacing them with positive affirmations fosters self-growth and resilience. Instead of believing, "I am not good enough," one can practice thinking, "I deserve happiness and respect." Over time, this shift in mindset strengthens emotional well-being and builds a more positive outlook on life. Healing is not a linear process, and setbacks may occur. However, each step forward, no matter how small, brings progress. Letting go of resentment, forgiving oneself, and embracing new opportunities creates space for a healthier and more fulfilling future. Ultimately, healing from toxicity is about reclaiming personal power, rediscovering self-worth, and creating a life that is free from negativity and emotional harm.